Did you struggle to start painting with oil pastels and couldn't figure out what kind of technique works the best for you? Because I was the same, and this is exactly why I'm going to share what I've learned in the past 6 months in this video. As you can see, I usually start my portrait paintings from the eye area. First I put the dark colors and then I soften them with white or gray, and after that I move on to the peachy and creamy colors for the eyelids and under eye areas. In paintings like this one, I try to have neat and clean outlines, which I use a regular brown color pencil to do the outlines. One of the questions I get asked a lot is about blending techniques. This can sometimes depend on the type of the pastels that you're using. The first pastel I started with was the Pastels oil pastels, and based on the comments I realized that some of you use this pastel as well. You might find yourself wondering why you can't blend them as well as other artists with other pastels, but harder pastels like Pentel, they just don't blend as easily, although they're good for details. When I was painting with pencil, I tried to solve this issue a little. One of my solutions, as you can see in the video, was to first use the lighter and cream colors and then blend the darker colors in a circular and rounded motion. This is a good blending technique, and it's not just for pencil. You can use this with softer pastels as well. But there are other methods that are more suitable for larger areas, like the background of this painting, which I will explain when we get to that part. You might have the same question or challenge as me. What if we make a mistake in a part of the oil pastel painting? How do we fix that? Well, if you've run into this problem, you probably know that when a part of the painting with oil pastel is worked on too much, at some point you can't add any more layers of color, and the paper just can't hold any more colors. In these situations, if I want to definitely keep the painting, I use a technique where I use a palette knife and with medium pressure, I scrape off the color from that particular area on the paper. And the color doesn't get completely removed from the paper, but it does give me the ability to add new layers of color. However, there's an important thing to keep in mind. You have to apply the pastel on the paper very lightly and gentle because the paper has already gotten a little glossy and has absorbed the previous colors in it. The palette knife has a really interesting use in oil pastel paintings as well, and that is creating texture and dimension on the painting, which I'll show you and we'll talk about later. When you're painting with oil pastels, you really have to trust the process of your work. And know that many of the paintings you see took hours and hours of work with multiple layers of color built up on the paper to get to the final result that you're seeing. So you should never compare the beginning stages of your work to the finished product of someone else's. And don't think why I couldn't get the result I wanted with just one or two layers of color. And always take your time between painting sessions and really think about your painting and your process. And there's nothing wrong with stepping back, analyzing different parts, and thinking about your work in between steps. It's also really great to stand up sometimes and look at the painting from a distance. This actually helps you to notice many of your mistakes. One of the things I wanted to mention was the background and how to fade it out. I first placed the lighter color at the top and the darker color at the bottom without trying to blend them together. And then with the same light color pastel, I started to fade the colors into each other very gently and with kind of a low pressure. The background of this painting was a bit challenging because I wanted to add thin lines and lights to the trees in the back, but my white pastel is not very opaque, so I basically faked these lights by creating scratches with a palette knife and removing some of the color. Also, while doing this, you have to make sure to clean the knife each time you scratch the colors so it doesn't leave any unwanted extra lines on your paper. The palette knife can also be used to create texture in the painting, like in the basket part, where by making lines with the basket pattern and adding bright highlights, I was able to give the illusion of it being bolder than it actually is. Also, did you know you can use gouache on top of oil pastels? Because in this particular piece, I had an issue with the white outlines of the hair area, and no matter how much I tried, I couldn't get those delicate white fine lines. So I just grabbed my white gouache and used the small brush to redefine those areas. The result really surprised me because I didn't think it would work out that nice. As we reach the end of the video, you can see the complete painting. This journey has been very valuable for me and I hope it has been enjoyable for you as well. If you liked this video and found it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my other videos because I'm sure you can find other tips in there. Thank you for being with me so far, and until next time, goodbye.